All right, let's see what we got here. I guess we're clocked in. Hey, what's going on, party people? Now, if this is your first time here, welcome. It's definitely a pleasure having you here. I go by the name of Sweet. I am a spiritual healer. And technically, as a spiritual healer, what I do is that I help people to become emotionally and mentally balanced, right? So, now, when I'm talking about becoming emotionally balanced, I'm definitely not referring to, let's just say, being polite. So when I'm talking about emotionally being balanced, I'm definitely referring to you understanding how your emotions are being created, understanding your emotional patterns, and at that point, the ability to spot your emotional blockages. So, in other words, when we talk about being emotionally balanced, what I'm truly talking about is for you to master your emotions. Has nothing to do with being polite or maintaining your composure. If you so choose to, it's cool. But if you choose not to, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? However, you are not being triggered, to do whatever the fuck you are actually doing. Like I guess the best way I could help you to picture that, let's just say if you're into Christianity, well, that's Jesus going into, the temple or the church and chasing everybody out. You know what I'm saying? This is my father's house. Do you see what I'm saying? In so many words, like he wasn't triggered. He didn't, it's not like he didn't maintain his composure. Sometimes if you want to say fuck you to a motherfucker peacefully, that's exactly what you do. Fuck you. You know what I'm saying? However, you are in charge of your emotions. It's not like you lost it. Some shit happened you didn't know. But, ultimately, so, I just wanted to pretty much, give you a little bit of background by having your emotional, or by being emotionally balanced. You see what I'm saying? Because, I could see where it could go in other ways. And also, when we talk about being mentally balanced, what I'm technically referring to is how your mind is being shaped, right? So now you have, culture plays a big part in how you see things, you know. I mean, you can't be in control of your mind, let's just say, if your mind is being controlled by someone else. Do you see what I'm saying? So questioning your culture, being in charge of your culture, I mean, it's definitely part of, mastering or balancing. Again, you're making it yours. Whenever we talk about mastery, you're just making it yours. But anyway, to make a long story short, that's what I do, and that's how I help you to actually become in alignment with yourself by being emotionally and mentally balanced. It's the idea of mind, body, and soul. That's it. Now, if you're coming back, you already know, niggas. You know what I'm saying? You in for a treat. It's definitely a pleasure having you guys back. You know what I'm saying? As always, you know what we do here. Let's break some bread. It's always a holy communion. So let's get to it, right? So, as part of, I guess, of my routine, but most importantly, I felt like spirituality has been misunderstood. So, as a spiritual healer, spirituality is the tool that I use, right? But most importantly, felt like if you can get this, oh my God, like God bless you. Because I felt like, when we talk about spirituality, it's been misunderstood on so many different counts. Like, people quite often they think it's something that's outside of them. Whereas, to be honest, you know, um, that's not it at all. Or some people would look, or in most cases, they would look at it as, it's religion. And we already know religion is just religion, meaning we created that, there's a state of mind that comes with that. However, I will say that spirituality actually embodied all of that because spirituality truly is telling you about the way you think. It's telling your story. And that story is being said in so many different ways. So truly, when we're talking about spirituality, it is your humanity. You know what I'm saying? It's your regular, the day to day life activity that you're going through. through, right? Excuse myself. You know, that's technically what that is. Now, there's something called the occult. Now, the occult is dealing with, you know, hidden knowledge. But, allow me to take the liberty to tell you what it means by hidden knowledge. It has nothing to do with, let's just say, a knowledge that is being kept away from you. Because initially, I know for me personally, that was my initial thought when I didn't understand what it means, right? And I guess that's why, in so many ways, I kind of don't like to call it the occult. It's more of a knowledge that you need to be devoted to, that you need to look for. Because the hidden part, when the occult is talking about the hidden, what they truly talking about is the fact that it's not in front of you. Ultimately you got to look for it. This type of knowledge. That's why the occult, with the knowledge that you're learning from the occult, either the Kabbalion, whatever sacred text that you're studying, Buddha, whatever the fuck, what they simply doing is giving you a better understanding of what this reality is. Now, I think I'm getting way ahead of myself. The Indian call this earth Maya. Maya means illusion, meaning it's not what it looks like. It's not what it looks like. That's what a fucking illusion is. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but it doesn't exist as you think or as you're looking at it, as you think it is, as it appears to be. There you go. It's not what it appears to be. And in life, like that's what we do. Like, and okay, this is what I'm saying by that's what we do. Right now, you could have multiple people experiencing the same exact thing, right? But we already know everybody's going to have a different perspective. I mean, the same life that I'm looking at, if I'm talking to somebody that has a lot of money, they have a way of looking at this life. There's a certain reality. This is what I'm trying to tell you in so many words. Not just what we make out of it, but it's also based on our inner understanding. Understanding, I should say. Right. But what this is also referring to, it's, the occult is just giving you a more profound understanding of your regular life. Now, if you're into the new age, then they'll tell you, you know what, you have a conscious mind, you have a subconscious mind, you have a shadow. So keep that in mind. When they telling you you have these things, it's not the minute that they said it that, somehow it just popped up. It was already there. Just like when we're talking about the law of attraction, the law of attraction, even if you watch The Secret, that's what they're telling you. And well, that was a great marketing skill. I mean, but anyway, you know, um, I'm saying this to say because I am trying to make a point here. And that's what the occult does. It helps you to be conscious of what you're not conscious of. It doesn't mean that it didn't exist. So, with that being said, you had always been creating your fucking life. You were not aware of it. So now, when we get you to be aware of it, and of course, that's the whole, um, how do you call that? That's that prosperity gospel. That's how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? Because ultimately, no one is questioning. Okay, if I have the power to manifest, what does that say about me? Even when you watch The Secret, it wasn't ultimately to talk about you. They talk about the universe, mostly that prosperity gospel. What you can do, you could buy your house. It's just another whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like another marketing, shit, right? Because, and again, that's why you always got to look at the collective consciousness. Everybody went for it because you already know it. The things that, you know what I'm saying? The thing about marketing, they don't convince you, bro. The study that they do is to have a better understanding of you. It's to understand, like when Steve Harvey had this book, Think Like a Man and Act Like a Lady, bitches was already thinking that way. So now you got a title that link to what you already believe in. What do you have at this point? Bestseller. It's not always the case. Do you see what I'm saying? Because other books that may be bestseller, in the spiritual realm, I mean, it's not in the public, well, not necessarily domain, but the work that I was looking for, it's not publicly out there like that. Do you see what I'm saying? So I'm saying all of that to say, pretty much, with the NDN looking at this world, or letting us know, in which I totally agree, because what we're doing in this life is delving deeper. Like when you have a better understanding of what's taking place around you, it's you getting into the nature of what's around you. Do you see what I'm saying? So, again, if we're talking about the law of manifestation, it's not, at the time when you learn about it that you were doing it. In fact, the problem that you're having with manifesting, it's not really manifesting. It's the same thing that Jesus talked about, which is, you are operating from an old system. You're trying to make something new out of something old instead of creating something new. Instead of creating something new. Do you see what I'm saying? That's where the misunderstanding comes in. That's where you have in your conflict. But anyway, speaking of conflict, I mean, now let me slow it down. Now, if you're coming back, welcome. You already know, you know exactly what we do here. As you can see, I was already diving in. So now tonight, what I wanted to talk about here, it's pretty much, you know, the illusion. What does it mean? Not just the illusion in itself, but it's almost like it's not how much you see, but it's how are you looking at it. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about tonight is, let's just say, is conflict, opposition, challenge. Well, I shouldn't say challenge because we use the word challenge now because people are, it comes from a state of mind. Now, when people are saying challenges, because they're saying, they are acknowledging that these things make you better. Whereas opposition and the conflict, there's a misunderstanding of that, meaning we are not able to see or look at conflict, what I'm saying, through the veil. Because a good opposition, I'll give you a perfect example. When somebody tells you, you know what, what I'm saying, like you need friends that will tell you that would not always agree with you. What the fuck is that? It's an opposition, nigga. Motherfucker that always agree with you, it's not an op. Although I mean, those are the ones you. Why are we saying you need to stay away from that? Because we understand subconsciously we need a good opposition. You need opposition in life. So therefore, what I'm trying to say is, with this world being an illusion, it's important for us to start looking at things from a different perspective. You can't look at it from the way it's being presented to you. Example, when we talk about conflict, what the fuck do you see? You see people yelling at fucking each other. You see a fight. Well, that's what you gotta look deep. Like you gotta look deeper. You gotta look a little bit deeper than that. Because conflict, it's like it's pain. It's like these things opposition. When you go to the gym, right? You're looking for a good opposition. You're looking for resistance. You know what I'm saying? In fact, you're eating more, you're sleeping more, you're doing whatever the fuck you do more because the more you lift, the more opposition you have, the more resistant, the stronger you get. So I'm saying this to say in so many ways, that's why when you don't look, I mean, it's important. Again, I want you to keep in mind this is an illusion. It's not what it looks like. So with that not being what it looks like, and now why, I mean, it's important for us to adapt, what I'm saying, a mentality that allows you to go deeper or to have a more profound understanding of what you're looking at. And that's what the occult does. When we talk about the hermetic, what I'm saying, whatever the fuck, the mystery schools, that's what this shit was all about. It wasn't just to keep it away from people, or I mean that knowledge is sacred, it's right over there. Nah. Now they understand, and this is a key thing, and nigga, it is what it is. Like, are you going to argue with a motherfucking a 10-year old or 5-year old? No. You wouldn't talk about calculus to a motherfucking, I don't know, like my son is 4. I wouldn't talk to this nigga about fucking calculus. For what? So therefore, that's what the mystery school was your rites of passage. Make sure that you are worthy, that you are able to understand the knowledge. Otherwise, why would you cast your spells before swine? That's stupid. Do you see what I'm saying? Again, the whole idea of the mystery school is being hidden. It's nothing like bad or anything like that, or they're trying to, there's some secret shit going on and all that shit. Nah, it's just not for everybody. And we understand when the teacher is ready or when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Because this is a fully loaded statement. This is also talking about the law of correspondence, too. This is talking about so many, it could be translated. This is fucking like fully loaded statement that could be translated in so many different areas. That's why even spirituality, you can't approach it, what I'm saying, thinking like with a scholarship perspective, with your intellect. That's not true at all. Even when you go to college, no matter what your grade is, you're gonna get a teacher, because it's not about, if you think you just know how to read and write and that's it. No, that's not true. There's understanding. You validate the book, not the other way around. Now, the only reason, if anybody, if you're reading a book, you able to understand it, meaning that you are at that frequency. Now, it doesn't mean you're not going to learn from the book, but the fact that you're receptive, you're able to learn and grow from it, that's because you're ready for it. And now you have materialized that truly by, grasping whatever the fuck the book is talking about. You know what I'm saying? And I could give you another book if you don't understand it, whatever the fuck it is. I don't give a fuck if you know grammar, your pronoun, your verb, and all that good shit. Or maybe you have a good English. You have no accent. Fool. If you're not, what I'm saying, at the height or in the space to grasp it, it's just gonna be nothing but words, 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 and words. Even the Kabbalion tells you that shit. And they understand that. So therefore, but anyway, let's go back to what we were talking about, because I want to make sure, you keep in mind that with this being a fucking illusion, so therefore what's important is how you're looking at things. You see what I'm saying? And two people, what you call a wise man, that person has a deeper understanding of the reality around them. Now, granted, it's the same reality. So that's why I always tell people your humanity is your spirituality. Your spirituality is not going to be somewhere else. And then your humanity, what I'm saying? What the fuck? Nah, it's right here, right now. It's you going looking at shit through the veil. So when you start looking at spirituality from that perspective, that's what would allow you to go beyond matter. To be free of matter is not to repress it or to negate it or to say it's bullshit. Nah, it's to see it for what it is, which is a fucking illusion. Because even the Kabbalion tells you that we don't look at matter as and matter in itself. We understand it's different plane. That's what they're talking about. They talk about the physical plane, the mental plane, and the spiritual plane. And they let you know that the Hermetic principles shadow into each one of those things. In other words, they're telling you the Hermetic principles exist in all different planes. The law of correspondence, for instance, we look at nature. It tells you as it is within, so it is without. By us looking at nature, we could understand our life. Outside, it gives us a better understanding. That's why a lot of our ancestors, we worship nature. Not in the sense, I mean, in a fucking stupid sense, but we value it because we understand our connection. It goes beyond. Like, that's why when you understand certain things, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm gonna stop that one there, right there. But anyway, whew, that was good. That was deep. That was meant for me. I can share that with you. I'll apologize. I can share that with you. But that was deep. That was deep. But anyway, um, you got to keep in mind, like that's why it's important how you looking at things. Now let's get back to challenges, opposition. You got to start looking at these things from a different perspective. Being born again simply means now you're looking at things from a spiritual perspective, meaning you turn the other cheek and you're looking at the reality beyond the veil. Because just like I was talking about, like, people, I mean, all right, most people would say, people love fight, right? But for me, I mean, again, I don't really see it as the fighting thing. I look at it as the opposition. Like a good boxing match when two titans clashing, you want to see it. So we somehow know opposition, just like I was telling you. You know what I'm saying? That's why you will say, man, if you need a real motherfucker in your meaning, you need a motherfucker that would let you know, hey, motherfucker, you fucking up. If everybody's agreeing with you, and that's why a lot of people know that they get real people around them to keep them in check, because a good opposition make you fucking better. You go into the gym lifting heavy weights, make you fucking better. So when you start looking at life from that perspective, your reality is changing. Now, failure is no longer failure; it's an opportunity. Then you understand, like in opposition, there's a lot of fucking opportunities, and that's what Ford understood when this motherfucker said, "Well, I didn't fail. I figure out 300 and whatever the fuck many the count was on how not to do certain shit." That's a state of mind. This motherfucker was looking through the veil, believe it or not, because that type of understanding comes with a state of mind. Meaning, there's a way he was looking at this reality. But a lot of us, unfortunately, you look at this reality with fear, because the one thing I realize about people not being able to look at the bigger picture or even to see the positivity in opposition is because you're looking at it from a fearful perspective. Like even like I had a recording where I talked about the remedy of the pain. It's in the pain. What hurts you, and you know how people kill what don't kill you make you stronger. Nah, nigga, it's what kills you makes you stronger. You want that shit to kill you. Transformation is an expansion of your ego. Like a limited ego is a stupid motherfucker. What people are calling the ego is just a limited ego because your ego goes as far as you go. So when you expand your ego, meaning it becomes more cosmic, it's looking out for you in a whole different perspective. That's why, but anyway, that would be more of a Patreon thing where I talk to you about, life knowledge, the knowledge that allows you. In other words, when I'm talking about not life knowledge, it's a holistic understanding, to see things truly for what they are, not just from being one-sided. If you're one-sided, how can you see the bigger picture? You're going to have a one-sided view. And that's what separation does. But if you put everything together, which is the very foundation of what African spirituality is, which is ma'at, balance and harmony, you know what I'm saying? Harmony is even better. You know what I'm saying? It's showing you the connection between the opposition, how the opposition come together. In other words, that's me agreeing to disagree with your ass. And shit, not even that. When you see a good opposition, generally a lot of these guys become really friends too, good friends. Like a good fight, a good opposition always make you better. So keeping the perception of, this being a fucking illusion, we look at conflict or opposition from a limited perspective. If I disagree with you, well, guess what? I stay in my power, you stay in your power. It's a win-win. You see what I'm saying? And even, what I'm saying, to have a whole perspective, you can't look at shit from a separation perspective. If you're looking at it from a what I'm saying, it's like you're looking at it from a limited perspective. Well, you're not gonna see the full picture, meaning you're not gonna have a greater understanding. You can only have a greater understanding when you look at it from a big perspective, from a big perspective. That's why it's important in so many words, like to put God in your life, to look at things like the way God would see it. And what that is, or what that is trying to say, is looking at it from a perspective, a greater perspective, outside of just your limited perspective. That's what that shit's trying to say. So a good opposition, it's a lot of opportunity. Do you see what I'm saying? So now what we have, the reason why a lot of people are not able to grow or conquer their fears, because you have to die. You have dying simply means transformation, transitions, going from one state of mind to a different state of mind. That's why people would tell you, or in the Bible they say, as a child I speak like, you know what I'm saying, I acted like as a child. Well, I mean, the process of you being as a child becoming, that is the expansion, that is also the expansion of your ego as well. Do you see what I'm saying? Like you're still that little child, but you're not that little child anymore. So that, is that transmutation as you're going through those different realities, you still remain yourself, although you are no longer the same self, if that makes any sense. I mean, it's kind of hard for me to put it in words, but I guess what I'm truly trying to say is, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that would be a whole different conversation, but I'm also showing you how your individuality doesn't stop you from connecting with God, because apparently, what I've been seeing is, your individuality has a bad rap, when it comes to the spiritual shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like niggas are telling you you don't want to be yourself to be spiritual. Like, what the fuck? is that uniqueness that makes me. That's what your individuality is. Just like when two people fall in love, you know what I'm saying? They become one, but they still maintain who the fuck they are. Now you have a greater cause. I get it, but but that doesn't mean your individuality is somehow compromised. You still have it. You still, you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, another way of me saying this, it's like your experiences never go away. They only transform. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like you're not losing anything here, you know. But again, you know, it's funny. I was getting a little bit. I was shit. Hmm. But anyway, because you know, I think I kind of get to understand. You know, okay, this is gonna be random, right? When our ancestors, you never hear people tell you, you know, you need to talk to your fucking ancestors because they were here. They would understand what you're going through more. But at the same time, they are no longer in that reality too. What I'm trying to say is, so that transition is from one form of a life to another. And every form of life comes with a different reality. That's why these motherfuckers, like, if you're dealing with your, like, I had to learn that the hard way dealing with my guides. So I learned how to deal with, how to cope with pain. The remedy of the pain is in your pain. You know what I'm saying? That's the transformation, you know, to look at it from a different perspective. That's why they tell you, you know what I'm saying, the divine time, it's not your time. But that means something. Because as we becoming conscious, I know for me, I go on divine time. That's the time that I go by. But for me to become, you know what I'm saying, but I had to go through that transformation. So I guess I was mentioning that to say I think I understood what, because we manifested ourselves down here. And of course, how do you remember who you were when you went from one? Do you see what I'm saying? When you understand this is a lower vibration and you manifested yourself here, so you know you have to raise yourself back up. The whole Anana and Nana, whatever the fuck her name is, mythology, that's what that mythology was telling you. This is your story of you coming down to earth. As you're descending, meaning you getting into lower plane or lower vibration because everything vibrates. You know what I'm saying? You're just vibrating at a lower rate. Now, when you're getting back to yourself, which is also, this is the beauty of it too, because us conscious people, we able to that's how we we transcend this reality. That's how, you know, I could tell you right now, I'm already in the kingdom of God. That's why becoming conscious here, you have already transcended. Ultimately, this is all one reality too. But anyway, that would be a whole different conversation. But the thing that I truly wanted to talk about, which I'm gonna be keep talking about, but I wanted you to understand is, you know, with this being an illusion, it's important for you to start looking at things from a different perspective. Because we already know it's a fucking illusion. Material science is telling you matter is not matter. So therefore, you got to look at it for what it is. If you want to go, if you want to see beyond the veil, right? You know, the whole idea of the matrix, you know what I'm saying? When people are reading the matrix, they see the dots and all that. But when you're in the matrix, I mean, that's the same idea. To see things truly for what it is, but also requires of you understanding your nature. who you are. That's why knowing who you are will set you free. But anyway, let's get back to the opposition itself. You need a good opposition. So when people tell you you need a real one in your life, not people that who agree with you, whatever, whatever, you will hear a lot of people say that. I'm trying to tell you what the underlying message is. Really, is them embracing opposition. They understand a good opposition. That's how you maintain your ground. So conflict isn't necessarily bad. Not to say it's not bad at all, but it can be bad depending on how you're looking at it. Just like, I talked about karma too. Some people say karma's a bitch. Karma is my friend. Why you gotta call it? Why the fuck you gotta give her names, bro? That's my friend. But it all, I mean, your interpretation of it is gonna be based on your understanding or where you at on in your journey. Again, that's why it's important for you to have, a deeper understanding of what you're looking at. Because opposition doesn't necessarily means, what I'm saying? It could be, uh, let's talk about games. You know what I'm saying? The finals, everybody want to go see the final, the fucking, what was, the Super Bowl that just happened. You wanted to see that game, didn't you? Who's gonna, what I'm saying? Unfortunately now this is where, what I'm saying, people look, kind of go left when they looking at opposition, because you're looking at it in terms of winning and losing. At this point, what you create at this point, you created something called duality. You have created two different poles of opposites. Do you see what I'm saying? Whereas the the more profound understanding that you have, you're not gonna look at it this way. You'll have more of a holistic perspective. You'll look at it from a win-win perspective. Do you see what I'm saying? That's why I always tell people, it's not about being optimistic. You need to have an optimistic perspective or outlook. I mean, an optimistic outlook on things. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes for you to get there, you would probably have to wait until the end, until you get to see the end results. That's when people would tell you things are not against you, they are for you. But that for you means that's the end results. But in the process, I had a last recording where I was talking about walking, like walking by faith. In that process, that's how you got to deal with your fucking challenges. So you gotta turn the other cheek. You gotta have a better understanding of it. Like they say, faith without deed is dead. So you constantly gotta prove it. So this is you, what I'm saying, being in alignment with your spirit and don't know what the end result's going to be. That's what, what I'm saying, walking by faith is. But anyway, and again, I guess what I was also saying in that recording is how important it is for you, what I'm saying, to embrace conflict, challenge. But for you to truly do so, you can't look at it from a mundane perspective. The mundane perspective, what I'm saying, which is if you're looking at it as it appears to be, then you'll see two motherfuckers fighting. Whereas a conflict goes beyond that. A good opposition, that's what you need. That's why when you understand this, you don't pray not to have problems. You ask for a stronger shoulder. You know what I'm saying? You don't go to the gym so you could lift lighter, nigga. What the fuck? Nah, you get your vitamins, nigga. Again, it's not what it seems like. And that's what this whole life is pretty much all about. Even when we're looking at our regular life, speech, what I'm saying, it's mirroring your mental. Do you see what I'm saying? It's a representation of my thinking. You know what I'm saying? Based on what I'm saying, how I'm saying it, I could either be a dumbass to you or a smart motherfucker. Either way, my speech is representing something. So that something is being manifested in so many different forms. That's why the Kabbalion call us, we are the living mind, spirit. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, what I'm saying here, this is the spirit expressing itself. Now it's being done through fucking words. I could write this shit down too. Then it'll be expressed that way. Guess what? No matter what I do, that's why they tell you you could lie, but your energy would never lie. That's why people will talk about, what I'm saying, body language. But again, that could be tricky too. If you're looking at just the body language, you got to look at the energy. Energy never lies. Do you see what I'm saying? But that's a whole different story. Do you see what I'm saying? But anyway, that's when people would tell you, so such and such a line. When you look at over here, you thinking, when you're looking down here, or whatever the fuck they're saying, all of that, they're looking for ways, they are looking to identify the spirit in you, because all of these, this is the spirit communicating. So your communication is more than just your verbal communication. The way you act also is a representation of your mental as well. You know what I'm saying? That's what makes it all mental. Now, be careful now. It's not always the case. You know what I'm saying? That's where you have people that are deceiving you. They act a certain way, but it's not the way that they truly are. Again, that's why I'm telling you, you have to understand energy. You see what I'm saying? The whole to be the deceptive is when you don't go along with the person that you are. That's what we call the people is not being real. They're fake. We say it all the time. Well, fake means what? They're not being who they are. And if you're not being who you are to yourself, you're going to be fake to everybody. That's the way it works. So when you're being true to yourself, you will never be false to nobody else. You know what I'm saying? That's the code. That's the cheat code. That's why, what I'm saying, I always tell people, be careful. There's a difference between self-love and selfish. Those are two different things. And I guess shit, we'll talk about it now because I always love to talk about it because a lot of people, I feel like people don't understand what selfish is and self-love is. I mean, I know it may sound cliche and shit, but people always say, hey man, like if you don't love yourself, you can't love nobody else. That's true. That's a reality. That's everything. Because what that means is why is that? Because when you self-love yourself, who the fuck is you? You are referring to those divine quality in you that you love. So when you start looking at yourself that way, so therefore you are looking at your true nature. Then when you look at somebody else, then you're seeking for their true nature. That's why they tell you love is to love somebody for who they are, their true nature. Now, a motherfucker who's selfish is not concerned with those divine qualities, with those inherent qualities. They're concerned with the benefit. That's why a selfish motherfucker would step on you. It doesn't matter. It's all business, dog. You know what I'm saying? They don't care about how you feel in the inside because it's all about the benefit from the outside. I mean, it is what the fuck it is, man. Like, I don't know. It's like the shit is like too clear to me. Like, it's like I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So again, a good opposition, you need that. You need that. You know what I'm saying? Because now at this point, that's how you are reconditioning your intellect, your mind. You're expending your mind at this point. But a lot of us, and I did say that, let me go back to it quickly. Unfortunately, when we look at shit from a fearful perspective, you don't look at the lesson. You know what I'm saying? You'll see a lot of people tell you that, yo, I learned more when I lost. That doesn't make them a loser. You know what I'm saying? So when you start looking at, things from a holistic perspective, then you start to see life as a win-win situation. But if you're looking at it from a limited perspective, then you'll see when and you know what I'm saying? I mean, you wouldn't because if you're looking at it from a win-win, you got to look at it from an inherent perspective. Meaning just like that fucker, like the Ford guy, right? He told you, nah, man. It was 300 and something whatever ways that I know that it didn't work. Do you see what I'm saying? Because he did acquire that knowledge. How does he not acknowledge that? When we talk about gratitude, man, it's a higher state of acknowledgement. Be grateful, meaning, what I'm saying, grasp your reality. That's why you'll hear a motherfucker tell you, you know what, I may not have this thing, but hey, I'm alive, nigga. Now, I kind of don't like it only because I get it though. Because as long as you're alive, you can always change things. I think that's what I get out of it. But a lot of the times when people referring to even life or death, they look at death in a bad way. Even because I remember even in my traveling, I met this and this nigga was Haitian too. It was a Haitian spirit that I met. We were talking and then, we were talking about Earth and then he was saying, oh man, these motherfuckers are afraid. Like that's why they always knew when someone's about to pass away. But that's why they never tell you shit. Because you don't know it's just you're gonna go through a different life. From the way you're looking at it, you know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers are crying, it's sad, it's a loss, and it's all of that. Hey, it's not what it looks like. God damn it. You know what I'm saying? It's not what it looks like. So therefore, even by you reshaping your mind this way, or even looking at, having a quality view, perspective on life, you know what I'm saying? That's how you all materialize your divinity down here. That's how you're becoming, what I'm saying, the God on earth. Now you start looking at the dots now instead of, what I'm saying, the physical matrix. Do you see what I'm saying? Because if death is a transition, is a transformation, and that's exactly what it is. You just leave one form of life to another. But anyway, to get back to again a good opposition, conflict is very good. You need opposition in your life. Just like people would tell you, you need a real one around you. You don't want a yes man. You always agree like, what I'm saying. You know there's nothing good that's gonna come out of that. But again, what I'm saying. I'm not gonna keep you guys too long. This is gonna be just a short one. I'm saying Happy New Year, everybody. You know what I'm saying? This is my time. I love the new moons, man. Yeah, I love them. I embrace them. But anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. Again, you know, it's not what it seems. It's not what it looks like. You know what I'm saying? And this type of knowledge, You need to be devoted. It's not gonna fall into your lap. You know what I'm saying? You gotta research, you gotta look for it. You gotta develop your mind. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have an open heart, however the fuck you wanna put it. You know what I'm saying? This type of knowledge, you gotta seek for it. And that's what going inside the journey is all about. All right. So I'm gonna leave it there. Just wanted to give you a broader perspective on conflict or opposition. You need a good opposition. I see. Wow.